What's poppin', people? It's Dante going for my morning walk here in Philadelphia along the Schuylkill River Trail, wearing the 40-pound weight vest. This thing is freaking awesome. Yeah, so the thought today is strength and courage and why this matters. So very simple. When I consider photography and a photograph, I consider it as a reflection of your courage. Courage, core meaning heart. And so when you photograph, you're displaying your lust for life and your heart is on display. The photographs you make become a reflection of your heart, of your soul, of your courage. And my belief is that the photographer is simply responsible for positioning themselves on the front lines of life, close to life itself, both physically and emotionally. And what this means is you must go forward with courage at the forefront, and your curiosity will follow. And so with this notion of courage in the realm of photography, yeah, maybe we can reframe the way in which we approach the medium. Stop thinking so visually and think more physically, physical strength, the movement of your body. You know, for me, this is the ultimate pleasure of photography. It's the movement of your physical body through the world. And through movement, you will see more. And the more that you see, the more that you photograph. Look at this bug flying around. Is it gonna stop me in my tracks? Am I gonna run away from it? No. We march onward. However, that bug could certainly sting me. You know, thinking about getting stung, I'm reminded of a quick story here, quick memory of my time photographing in Shafat refugee camp in East Jerusalem. And you know, when I stumbled across this location, I initially Googled the location, you know, thinking, oh, maybe if I see what it's like before I go, I'll get a better idea of where I can go and photograph. And you know, there's this big looming wall, and I wanted to make a picture of this wall because it is so powerful, and you know, I just wanted to make a photograph of it. And so, you know, you look on Google, you get all this negative feedback, all of this sort of ugliness, and you know, you read all of these articles, and you know, these things put fear in you, right? But you have to set fear aside. And I've learned very quickly that the goal should be to set your body in motion without preconceived notions of what you will find, without doing any prior research. And so I had to sort of overcome that fear and that anxiety of the future, of the possibility of me encountering something dangerous. And yeah, I made my effort by simply going forward with this sort of childlike naivete, sort of found myself playing in the streets, sort of just being playful, you know, beatboxing, you know, meeting people, eating falafel. I remember even boxing with this one Palestinian man who was play fighting with some friends, and, you know, arm wrestling, and sort of just remaining playful but courageous while in this dangerous or seemingly dangerous place. And so while I walked along this no man's land along the wall, there's hardly any people in sight. And there was a moment where I stood still making a photograph of the wall, and a rock flew from the hillside, sort of like where I'm positioned right now. You could imagine I was by that tree, and a rock pelted me from the distance, and a kid, you know, he wound up hitting me in the back of the leg with the stone. And it actually reminded me of when I was a kid and we would play with acorns in the streets. When the acorns would fall from the trees, we would collect them in buckets, and we would fight each other and sort of have these like play fights in the neighborhood with acorns, and those freaking hurt. I remember that was such a brutal way to play as a kid, but it reminded me that, you know, this is not a dangerous situation. You know, for this child is merely playful, sort of like me when I was a kid. And however, you know, getting pelted by a rock could be alarming, and maybe you would start to have this sense of fear within you to, you know, not revisit the location and pursue the photograph that you would like to make. But I kept going back there, you know, day after day, until I made a photograph of a boy throwing a baby stroller against the wall, you know, which is just a really weird moment and something extremely random that can only come, I believe, through courage, through fearlessness, and through that sort of courageous spirit and that playful spirit, that resilient spirit of just going back there and attempting the thing itself over and over again, you know, sort of just setting fear aside, you know, setting all your preconceived notions aside. And yeah, that story of me photographing there and pushing through, yeah, it was a really triumphant victory for me, you could say. You know, I conquered the wall that separates Israel and Palestine. Standing tall on top of it, I actually climbed up and stood on top of the wall. And you know, these memories, they fuel through me when I walk and consider courage, because, you know, dangerousness may be a bit foolish, right? Standing upon this, oh man, there's a, do you see a bee on my neck? Or is that just sweat? Like a bee could come behind me right now and sting me in the neck, and I could fall to my death. Or, you know, the wind could come and a bird could bump into me. You know, there's lots of bees today, and yeah, that would not be good. And yeah, but maybe you have to take a risk. Maybe you have to be a bit dangerous. You have to be a bit bold and brazen in the realm of photography and art, especially in the practice of street photography or documentary photography. The genres and all this kind of nonsense doesn't matter. The point is, as a photographer working in the public space, you know, where the streets are our canvas, you know, the streets become this arena, yeah, I believe that you must put courage at the forefront, first and foremost.